Hey, today I'm going to tell you the story of how I made $400,000 during the pandemic with systems that I set up in just one day. I'm an offer strategist and systems designer, and over the years, one of my specialties has been to build systems for online businesses that make money on autopilot. I'm going to tell you the exact systems and softwares that I use to build an online business that made over $400K, and I'm going to show you how I did it in just a day. And the thing that I think I'm proudest of with this machine is that it allowed our team to teach over 1,000 private classes with a 100% success rate. We had no fuck ups, we had no missed classes, and we had no refunds. Seriously, that's how incredible your machine can be if you connect your systems the right way. Before we dive into this story, if you want to learn how to make money online, I am so excited to share that I made a checklist for you. This is the everything you need checklist to figure out what makes you a niche of one, who your ideal client is, which product or service you should sell, and how to build and actually sell an online offer. I've made this checklist because this is what I've seen actually work in real life. I'll give you the checklist to follow to turn your idea into a real online business. And I'm going to show you the softwares you need to make it happen. It's available on my page, so go grab it if you want to start making money online. And it's totally possible. Now, I'm going to show you how I made multi-six figures with my systems. A little backstory. Back in 2020, I had a mixology class business. I had a bunch of bar tools, and I would go around to like bachelorette parties, corporate events, and holiday mixers in Nashville. So I was entirely in person. And then in March of 2020, the pandemic totally shifted how I was able to do business. I went from being fully booked out for the spring to completely broke. My bank account went down to 62 cents, and I had to refund all of my existing contracts. So I pivoted. I started offering virtual mixology classes. I would stand in my home kitchen and I would teach people how to make cocktails over Zoom. I got my first request in April 2020, and then like a handful more came in May 2020. And then within 3 weeks, I was like completely booked. The problem was I had like no systems. I wasn't able to scale my business because I was the person doing everything. I worked 12-hour days every single day, and I was completely exhausted. I knew that there was no way to run the business on autopilot. And so I blocked my schedule for one weekend and I decided to set up a system. I tested every single scheduling platform that existed. I had like 10 free trials for different CRM systems, contract systems, invoicing softwares. I tested everything so that I could figure out what would actually work. And then I built a custom machine that did exactly what I needed my business to do. And then it just worked. I built a system that worked immediately. I was able to start booking thousands of dollars in virtual mixology classes every single day without ever having to speak to a single customer. Here's how I did it. I had a few pieces to my machine. I had an online scheduler, a payment processor, a CRM, and an automation software. I'm going to break these down and show you what I needed the software to do and how I picked the software that I did. So we'll start with online scheduler. This was the biggest and most valuable piece in my machine. My online scheduler allowed customers to book a class on my website, which was insanely important. Every single one of my competitors had like a contact us box, and I thought that felt clunky. On the back end, I didn't want to spend all my time going back and forth with my customers to figure out like a date for their classes. I did that and it does not work long term. So I was determined to find a scheduler that worked for me and my business. My scheduler needed to do a few things. It needed to have the option for multiple employees with unique schedules and availabilities. So I needed to be able to have like all of my employees. I didn't have them yet, but I knew I would have them eventually. I needed them to have their own calendar and for people to book an instructor using their calendar. It also needed to have different package and pricing options. It needed to allow customers to pay for the class before they booked. It needed to give customers an opportunity to add like custom details, such as like notes for their event or their cocktail choices. And it needed to create a custom Zoom meeting and block off the instructor's calendar so that she couldn't get double booked. I did not want any flaws in this machine. I tested every single online scheduler. I even tested schedulers used by the salon industry since they tend to have like a lot of employees and a huge menu of services. So I thought that would work, but it didn't. In the end, I found one system that actually worked for me, and that system was Acuity. Acuity is owned by Squarespace, and it was the Cinderella perfect fit for what I needed. I could create a fully custom scheduler, I could add custom form fields, and I could embed the scheduler right on my own website. I could even add custom fonts and colors, which was like personally a huge win for me because I like to add color to things. So I found my online scheduler, done with that. That was a breeze. Then I needed to find a payment processor. I needed to find a way for my customers to be able to pay for their mixology class when they booked it. My old system was kind of clunky. I would have to send a custom invoice and a contract to every single customer after they scheduled their class. And that meant that I was eventually chasing them down for payments, which was not that fun. So I decided to add my payment processor, Stripe, in with my online scheduler, Acuity. What was even cooler is that I added a field in the online scheduler that linked to a page with my terms and conditions. That meant that before customers could book a class, they had to approve the terms and conditions, which meant that I didn't have to send individualized contracts to each person. They could just read the contract on their own and then say, yes, I approve this contract. Stripe also integrated with my QuickBooks, so my accountants were really happy. Hell yeah. Then I needed a CRM. Giving customers the ability to book their class online was somewhat easy, but the next part was tricky. I needed to figure out a way to have all of my customers' class information organized in a clean and easy to use way. I wanted my team to be able to have a bird's eye view of all the upcoming classes on our schedule. I needed a CRM. And in case you don't know, CRM stands for Customer Relationship Manager. My CRM needed to do these things. It needed to show me all of my clients' class info at a glance. It needed to allow me to share the system with my instructors so that they would have the information that they needed to teach the classes. It needed to automatically send emails to the client with their recipe cards and class prep instructions. And it needed to send class reminder emails to the customer and the instructor. Remember, 0% fuck-ups. I tested a lot of CRMs, and I even tested ones that had schedulers built in, but none of the systems could keep up with what I wanted to do, except for one, Monday.com. You might know Monday.com as a project management software, and it is, and it worked perfectly for what I needed. I created automations within Monday so that it sent reminder emails to clients and it sent notifications to my instructors. It also kept track of the date of each class and it assigned automations based on the date. So for example, a client would get a reminder email 2 days before their mixology class so that there was never a surprise. The system would move clients to different buckets based on their class date. So we had a bird's eye view of classes that were 24 hours a day, 7 days away, even a holding section where if they were more than 7 days away, they just went there. Every single day, instructors were able to look at the CRM and have all the details they needed to show up and actually teach the class. My CRM was fucking flawless. The piece that brought it all together was an automation software. You see, my scheduling system didn't really want to talk to my CRM system. It was like my scheduling software spoke French, but my CRM spoke Italian. They just couldn't really communicate with each other. And that's why I brought in Zapier. Zapier is the automation software of my dreams. Using Zapier, I was able to create an automation that essentially translated the information from Acuity and automatically added it to Monday.com. It was really tricky, actually, because each Zapier step was 15 individual translations. The trickiest part for me was making sure that the field types matched, text fields had to go to text fields and date fields had to go to date fields. If you don't match them properly, then the whole thing kind of breaks. But once I set it up, again, it was flawless. Here's a list of all the softwares that I use to make over $400,000 and allow my customers to book online without having to speak to anyone on my team. Zoom, which was my video software, Acuity, which was my scheduling system, Stripe, the payment processor, Zapier, the automation software that connected everything, and Monday.com, which was my CRM and project manager. And that was my whole machine. My competitors were never able to build anything similar, and I was the industry leader for virtual mixology classes for over 2 years until I shut down that business to pursue business strategy. At the height of this business, I had 6 full-time employees, and in our best month, we sold over $80,000 in mixology classes, all using this hand-built system. And again, we had a 0% fuck-up rate. It worked perfectly. I really hope that you enjoyed this story. It was such a fun part of my life, and it really made me fall in love with building systems. If you have questions about systems, drop them here. But if you want to learn how to make money online, please go get the Ultimate Checklist to Make Money Online. It's like my love letter of checklists, easy to follow processes, and of course, systems and softwares. And please be sure to like and subscribe because I really want to make more videos about systems, softwares, and business strategy.